Hi guys and welcome to Crazy Pepper Revenge. This channel is all about crazy true stories, stuff that happens in real life when things get a little bit messy, people dealing with drama, cheating, lies, breakups, and even revenge. Some stories are wild, some are emotional, but all of them will keep you watching. If you like real talk and real situations, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stick around. This is Crazy Pepper Revenge, where the stories get spicy.
Everything has a price, Jennifer.
I never thought I'd be standing in my living room, trembling with rage, clutching photos that would destroy my 9-year marriage. My wife Jennifer and I had been together since high school, through foreclosures, student debt, career struggles. I'm a small-town contract lawyer, nothing glamorous, but I tried to be the steady, dependable husband who refused to let everything collapse around us. Then I found an unmarked envelope in my desk drawer at work. Someone had broken in or gotten special permission to leave it there. Inside were nearly a dozen photographs of Jennifer wearing latex outfits at what looked like an upscale fetish lounge, kneeling on stage performing degrading acts for older couples. The timestamps showed these were recent, some from just days before. My vision literally darkened from fury. I recognized everything. Her posture, the tilt of her head, her jawline. This was my wife. The woman who once told me I was her soulmate, who talked about raising a family and traveling to Europe together. Now I wondered if every piece of lingerie was for these strangers at that club. I hired a PI immediately, someone I'd used on a pro bono case. Within hours, he called asking to meet at a diner on the outskirts of town. He slid a folder across the table and said simply, "I'm sorry." Inside were high-resolution photos of Jennifer strutting around a lavish hall dominated by strobe lights and a central stage. The sign outside read, "Members only weekend night of surprises." More devastating images followed. Jennifer leaving with wads of cash stuffed in a satchel, hugging older customers, standing chained on stage performing elaborate, humiliating routines, while onlookers cheered. "An exclusive partner swappers club," the PI explained quietly. "Private parties for affluent members. She's been going a couple nights a week for months." My stomach churned. All those times she told me she had acting roles or extra gigs, she was doing this for money, or maybe even for fun. I stared at the swirl of cheap diner coffee, suppressing the urge to flip the table in rage. The savage part of me needed to see it firsthand. I told Jennifer I had an overnight assignment and arranged to enter that club as a paying customer. The admission cost was outrageously high, but I didn't care if I drained every penny. The club was hidden behind abandoned warehouses. After bribing my way in, I entered a lavish, dimly lit lounge with plush chairs around a central stage. The place reeked of expensive perfume, leather, and sweat. They handed me a black mask at the entrance. Couples in their 50s and 60s, dressed in extravagant evening wear, gazed hungrily at the stage. My heart pounded so violently I was sure the table was shaking. The lights shifted to lurid purple. That's when Jennifer stepped out, wearing an impossibly tight latex suit that glistened under the spots. Her face was partly concealed by a half mask, but I recognized her eyes with painful clarity. Two hooded men led her on a leash. She strolled down the catwalk with brazen confidence, kneeling gracefully like she'd done this routine hundreds of times. An elderly couple beckoned her closer. She crawled on hands and knees toward them. My body went rigid, fists clenched so hard they hurt. She was performing subservient acts, arching her back, pressing gloved hands to the floor as if begging. The older woman handed her some phallic toy while the man laughed. Jennifer placed it between her teeth, arching provocatively while the crowd's murmurs grew frenzied. She shifted to new routines, letting the couple place money in her latex bodysuit's pockets and cleavage. She laughed like it was the most exhilarating moment of her life while the crowd applauded. Something inside me snapped so abruptly I nearly blacked out from fury. I rose, pressing through the throng. When I reached the stage edge, I tore off my mask, flinging it aside dramatically. The entire crowd gasped. "Jennifer!" My voice boomed across the silent club. She halted mid-act, turning sharply. Her eyes widened in absolute horror behind the half mask. She scrambled to her feet, confusion swirling with panic. "What are you doing here?" she sputtered, raising one latex-clad arm as if to shield herself. My voice echoed over the stunned silence. "What do you think I'm doing here? I got your pictures. The videos, too. What is this? Is this how you repay me for everything we built together? She tried regaining composure, chin lifting defiantly. You have no right to be here. You're violating my privacy. This is my job. I don't need your permission. You disgust me, I snarled. I gave you everything. Love, a home, loyalty. You repay me by crawling around for these decrepit old... Shut up! She shrieked, stepping forward, pointing at me with a trembling latex finger. Don't you dare come here and embarrass me like this! How could you do this? Spying on me? You're stalking your own wife. I barked out a mirthless laugh. My wife? The same woman rolling around for randoms at a partner swappers club? My rage peaked. I jumped onto the platform, ignoring the gasps and hooded men stepping in to intervene. You're coming home now, I thundered, grabbing her wrist. She pulled back violently. Get your hands off me! If you touch me again, I'll scream so loud the cops will arrest you for attack. Everything happened in seconds. Massive bouncers descended, tackling me from behind. My face hit the stage floor with a brutal smack, metallic taste of crimson flooding my mouth. They twisted my arms behind my back, cuffing me with zip ties while I kicked and spat. Jennifer stood over me, panting with adrenaline, face contorted in hysteria and triumph. I warned you. You can't just barge in and ruin my show. You're out of your mind. They hauled me to the exit, half dragging me while I struggled. Outside, they shoved me onto the pavement, one bouncer cutting the ties before kicking me square in the ribs for good measure. I returned home around 2 a.m., red liquid trickling from my split lip, the humiliating scene replaying endlessly. Jennifer didn't come home that night, nor the next day, nor the one after. On the fourth day, I had every single lock changed. When she finally showed up that evening, I heard keys jangling, then frustrated rattling and pounding. Open up! I know you're in there. I opened the door just wide enough to glare. She stood disheveled, arms folded, anger sparking the moment she realized she wasn't stepping inside freely. You changed the locks? She sounded outraged. You can't do this. It's my house, too. Not for long, it isn't, I snapped. You lost your say when you threatened me in that cesspit. You made your choice. Her expression shifted cunningly. Fine. We'll see what police say about this. I'll have you arrested for spousal misuse. I leaned in with a sneer. Try it. Your bodyguards already roughed me up pretty good. On your command, I have photos of my injuries, doctor's notes, everything. I slammed the door in her face. She pounded for minutes, hurling obscenities, then stormed off. The next day, my phone buzzed with an unknown number, a woman's voice. Is this Jennifer's husband? It's Nancy. We worked together at the club. I recognized your face when you stormed in. I need to see you. I have information about Jennifer's whole operation. We met at a downtown cafe. Nancy looked tense, worried about being recognized. I feel guilty, she began. Jennifer lured me into certain activities. I needed money, and at first she acted friendly, but I realized she was enjoying it for more than money. She told me she liked the power. She'd whisper about getting a twisted thrill from hooking unsuspecting wives on these gatherings and taking percentages of their fees. My jaw clenched as Nancy continued. She found it hilarious how clueless her loving husband was. She said you'd never find out because you were too busy playing lawyer or too naive to suspect her. She was sure if you did find out, you'd panic and crawl back to her feet. Nancy showed me screenshots of texts where Jennifer mentioned recruiting women, plus evidence she was pocketing large sums well beyond a performer's wage. She orchestrated deals and even bragged about using that money to buy new furniture. The same furniture she told me came from TV gigs. She wasn't forced, Nancy said grimly. She seemed to enjoy those parties. She liked being the star performer. She was proud. One video showed Jennifer, obviously tipsy, bragging, I told him I was getting acting work, but who am I kidding? I can't get enough of these nights. The final kernel of hope that maybe Jennifer had only done this out of desperation evaporated. The last shred of sympathy was gone. Jennifer filed divorce papers first with a devastating twist that made my head nearly explode. Her complaint alleged I had refused support for an 11-year-old daughter, claiming this child was biologically mine and that I was a deadbeat father. In 9 years of marriage, I'd never heard rumors of any child. Everything clicked. Jennifer was 2 years older than me in high school, and there'd been confusion about her academic year. She must have dropped out due to pregnancy and returned later, never telling me. She was effectively trying to paint me as not just a misuser, but a father who refused to acknowledge his secret daughter. I marched into my divorce attorney Barbara's office, tossing the complaint on her desk. She's lost her damn mind. She's claiming I misused her and cheated on her with Nancy, even though I only met Nancy after the fact. Barbara didn't look particularly shocked. Classic tactic. People like your wife often try to stack as many accusations as possible, hoping something sticks. Well, she picked the wrong target, I growled. We're not settling. I want to burn her down in court. The hearing day arrived. Jennifer walked in, flanked by family members and her attorney. She shot me a withering glare, holding no trace of shame, just defiance. Beside her was a young girl, maybe 12, with eyes that indeed resembled Jennifer's. Her lawyer kicked off with accusations. My client has been subjected to repeated domestic misuse, controlling behavior, and in the most shocking turn, an absolute refusal by her husband to support his own child. We have evidence this man was consorting with a known associate from an adult club and was seen in a heated altercation where my client worked to contribute to their mortgage. My attorney Barbara stood, voice calm yet forceful. Your Honor, these claims are baseless. We have extensive evidence to prove it. First, my client was entirely unaware of any alleged child during nearly a decade of marriage. Barbara submitted the PI's photographs, text logs from Nancy, plus images of me after I'd been attacked by the club's bodyguards. For the final flourish, Nancy approached the witness stand. Jennifer's face went slack. She clearly hadn't anticipated this. In a steady voice, Nancy recounted how Jennifer actively recruited other married women into the club for percentage cuts. How Jennifer told people she had zero intention of quitting because she loved the rush and extra cash. How Jennifer had only begun brandishing misuse accusations once her husband discovered the truth. Nancy also confirmed that I had only met her after the pictures were leaked. No affair, no romantic involvement. When Barbara played audio of Jennifer bragging about raking in money from naive suburban wives, the entire courtroom tensed. Bank statements showed Jennifer's large deposits from the club. She wasn't penniless. Throughout all this, Jennifer seemed to wilt further into her seat, her bravado disintegrating. The judge demanded explanation for the secret child with no existing paternity test. Jennifer offered only silence. When the judge finally spoke, tension crackled through the room. Having reviewed the evidence and heard the testimony, this court finds that the allegations of domestic misuse are unsubstantiated. Moreover, there is overwhelming documentation of the defendant's substantial undisclosed income. Her claim to alimony is denied. With respect to the alleged child, no evidence has been provided that the plaintiff is the legal or biological father. This court grants the divorce. I stood there, pulse roaring in my ears, entire body rigid from emotion. Jennifer shot me one final look, a mixture of contempt, betrayal, and flickering fear. For the first time, I sensed she knew she had lost, that all her threats, manipulations, and secret double life had finally caught up with her. I didn't say a word. I just let the moment hang there, thick and stifling, refusing to break my gaze until she whipped around and stalked away with her family in tow. There was no neat epilogue, no sweet closure. The tension roiled in the air, heavy and bitter as we filtered out of that courtroom, battle-worn. Yet for me, it ended right there, in that moment of fury and grim satisfaction. The marriage was gone, shredded by her lies and sealed by the judge's decree. Sometimes the only justice is making sure the truth comes out.